DSLR photo booths versus iPad photo booths. Which one is better? How's it going, everyone? Drew here. Today we're going to talk about DSLR photo booths versus iPad photo booths. It's kind of a big debate in the photo booth community and kind of an important video to watch if you're considering getting into the photo booth business. And I'm going to just explain it really quick. A DSLR photo booth is a photo booth that has a DSLR camera, right, which is a professional grade camera, usually Canon or a Nikon, that has a lens that you can attach to it. That is comprised also of a flash, usually, then a computer, bunch of wires, and an iPad booth is literally this, what you see right behind me. It's an iPad, no need for a computer or a camera because the iPad has the front-facing camera and then obviously the screen. So guests can touch the screen, they can see themselves, and that's basically what they are in a nutshell. So let's go over the pros of a DSLR photo booth. The first one, you guys, it's obvious. It is the best quality photos you can get out of a photo booth because think about it, you're using an actual professional grade camera versus the front-facing camera from an iPad. Well, why is this a big deal? Well, one, your social media accounts are gonna look amazing because you're gonna have the crispiest, well-lit photos, also to your website. But most importantly, clients sometimes want the best quality photo, right? As to where an iPad, you're not getting the highest quality photos because you're using the front-facing camera and you're not using a flash. You're just using a ring light, maybe some extra light, but that's not to say that you can't get amazing photos from iPads. It's all really depends on what iPad do you have. Do you have good lighting for it? And do you have your photo booth close to the backdrop? So with an iPad photo booth, you want to be able to keep it 4 to 5 feet away from the backdrop so that the light can travel well. And then we're speaking now about distance between the photo booth to the backdrop. This is another pro of a DSLR photo booth is you're able to move the photo booth further from the backdrop because you're using a flash, a quick little light that can travel quick, and you can literally be sometimes 10 feet away from the backdrop. You can fit more people in a photo. So that is another pro with a DSLR photo booth. And again, guys, I want to preference this too. I know this may be the deal breaker between you getting a DSLR and iPad, talking about the image quality. But again, you got to remember, you guys, we're talking about photos that are usually on a 4x6 or a 2x6 strip. We're talking about a small file compressed in a small space. So you will really know the difference when you blow the image up. So if you have a DSLR, you actually have the option, if you really wanted to get that image and make it bigger and not really see loss in quality versus an iPad photo booth. If you just look at it from the photo booth, like the template, right, or on a digital file or on a print, yeah, it looks good, but when you really blow it up, you can then notice the lack of resolution and quality when it comes to the photo. And another pro when it comes to DSLR photo booths, you have some really cool options for some really unique, nice photo booths, like a mirror photo booth. Those don't take iPads, those take DSLR, and there's a computer component in it with a big screen. So you can have some really high-end quality photo booths. Why does that matter to you? Well, if you want to be a premium product, a high-end rental, then yeah, go for a mirror booth, get a DSLR, and that's just the route you can go. As to where you have an iPad photo booth, it's usually a simpler, looking booth, kind of like this. And to be honest, that is pretty much, in my opinion, where the pros end with the DSLR setup. Let's talk now about the pros of the iPad photo booth. The first one that stands out to me is affordability. These iPad photo booths don't have as many moving parts, right? It's just your shell that has your ring light, the stand, obviously it's part of it, and then your iPad. Very, very minimal setup, easy to take around, super portable. Literally, you could break this down, put it in the travel case, throw it in your car. Most of the times you don't need, you don't need a truck, you don't need a van. As to where some of the DSLR setups, like a mirror booth, really big, sometimes require 2 people. Most of the times, if you have a big, maybe like a 60-inch mirror or something bigger than that, you may need a van, you may need a truck. So this is all stuff that you have to factor in. Again, it's all about, in my opinion, I prefer simpler, easier setups, not just for portability and affordability, but the simplicity aspect. If I have my iPad photo booth at an event, if I run into an issue, I know right away what it is. It's not hard to troubleshoot. And in businesses, especially this business, you're using technology, you will run into issues. Things will not work, things will malfunction. And since it's just the iPad, a ring light, and a stand, it's easier to figure out. As to where it's a DSLR setup, if something isn't working, it's sometimes harder to figure out what's wrong because, again, iPad only versus a camera, a lens, a flash, a hot shoe mount, a computer, a bunch of wires connecting to each other. So it's a little bit harder to diagnose. And then piggybacking off of that last point, since the iPad booths are simple, right, easy to diagnose, don't really run into as many issues, I can comfortably leave a photo booth, an iPad photo booth, I mean, at an event and leave. Not really worry about things happening. Sometimes, if you do a drop off, sometimes they'll move the booth back. And if you do that with a DSLR setup, that could maybe one of the wires get loose. Maybe the booth shuts down. There's more things, and I don't feel comfortable leaving a DSLR photo booth as a drop off. And to me, being able to get hired for an event, drop off a photo booth, do whatever I want after, then go pick it up, to me, that means a lot. So that is definitely a pro for the iPad photo booth. And another pro for the iPad photo booth is you don't really need to be a professional photographer or have really much skills when it comes to photography with an iPad booth because, the way we run it, we do automatic settings. We don't have manual settings because we're mostly doing drop-offs. And, if you're starting off and you don't know photography, that could actually be a hindrance. But, if you're doing an iPad booth, you kind of don't really need to know much. You just have to know that the photos need good lighting, and that's it. As to where a DSLR booth is, you do need photography settings. You need to know what ISO is, shutter speed, white balance, etc. And again, the pro, speaking about it, is that's one of the main reasons why you're able to get better photos with the DSLR because you have more control over these settings. And in an iPad booth, from my experience, when I do automatic versus manual settings, I don't notice that much of a difference. So that's why we leave it on automatic, making it, again, simpler and easy to use for the average person getting started. To conclude this video, you guys, you really can't go wrong with either photo booth. Just have to understand the perks of the DSLR, the perks of the iPad booth, the cons of the DSLR booth and the cons of the iPad booth, and what fits your goals and what you want as a business owner. I think, obviously, if you want to give your clients the best quality photos, go DSLR. You won't regret it. Trust me, it's the best. But, if you still want to provide decent photos, right? I'm not saying they're the best. I will never lie to you guys and say iPad photo booths will outshine anything else because it's not true. But do you want to be able to drop a booth off? Do you want simplicity? Do you want affordability? Do you want portability? Then go iPad photo booth. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do want to get started with an iPad photo booth business, go to photobooth101.com, my website. We sell photo booths just like this. We have backdrops, props. We literally have a community of other photo booth operators waiting for you to help you also get started on your journey. Not to mention, you also have access to me. So link in the bio to my company down below. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow us for more. Thank you so much. Take care.